Preservation of energy. Every time you deposit a chalice, you can enlighten one lamp afterwards. This, however, doesn't stack, so if you deposit twice, that means that you can still only enlighten one lamp afterwards and not two. My recommendation is to skip the lamps completely and just deposit every time. For that, the best to use would be Strand and just grapple onto the tangles every time. If you have Warlocks in your team, just put on the Wanderer aspect, as those give at the moment more range for those tangles. They will fly further and more in a straight line. At the end of the encounter, there's gonna be anti-barrier and unstop champs, so also prepare those as weapons. So a chill clip fusion or something similar would be good for that, to just stun them and then just melt them away from it with a different weapon. Precarious balance. While crossing the bridge, there can be no one on the middle plates. So if you wanna go across, either have your teammate do a 3-2-1 and then he's going off the plate and you're going on the bridge. Or you stand yourself on the middle plate and then you just rush over immediately. So you just start running whenever you yourself are ready and then the bridge just builds down while you're doing this. You need to jump the last part with that, but it's easy, especially if you have a sword. You can just sword swipe once and then you across. If you're the chalice guy, just put on an edge sword and then you can do pretty much the same. Otherwise, you can also use strand tangles to throw yourself over the bridge again. If you're doing that, however, you will still need to do the middle plates to actually spawn in the knights. And I would recommend only crossing, if you're the person that throws it, only cross with the last sword bearer. Otherwise, you will need to always go back and forth. If you're experienced with this, then that will be no problem, but going back can be a little bit tricky for the first times, as it needs a more precise lineup than the going over to the other side. A little disclaimer, for this you need to be a Strand Warlock as far as I'm aware, otherwise you will not be able to throw the tangles high and far enough to actually go across. In this encounter there's gonna be anti-barrier and unstoppable champs. The anti-barriers are gonna spawn near the plates and they will always just try to come over to the plates. And the unstoppables will spawn at the end. Those are gonna be, instead of the normal ogres, you will have the unstoppables there. I would suggest just stunning them once and then using one enlightened on them. Otherwise just have somebody with high burst, like maybe a Strand Titan or something else, just burst them away, as they can be annoying if you let them go once due to them not being stunnable for a few seconds again. Equal assaults. Everybody needs to have had the chalice once before somebody can have it a second time. This, however, does not mean that you need to be enlightened, that only means that you need to have had the chalice once. So, if somebody has the chalice and you don't want him to be enlightened, just grab it off of him immediately and you will have some more spare time during the encounter. If you want to have it a little bit easier, just make an order beforehand and then grab the chalice from below and just rotate it through while the encounter has not started yet. Make sure, however, that the people who are on witch duty are the ones with the most survivability, so that you don't have awkward wipes. Otherwise, just make as many people as possible enlightened, so that you actually have backup enlightens in case people die. If you're doing that, however, make sure that during damage phase, you just drop down at 10 seconds, and then grab the chalice during damage phase, so that you have enough time to charge up as many people as possible. In this encounter there are only anti-barrier champs, and they will come out of the middle doors. So just be prepared for that, but if you just run around you will mostly not see them. All for one. Once you hit Crota with a sword, you need to down him in around the next 5 seconds. So just apply a tractor cannon on him, and have 2 swords, and then just use either heavy, super heavy, heavy, or heavy, heavy, super heavy, depending on what you prefer. For this, especially on Master, I would recommend just putting down a well immediately before you have anybody go near him, otherwise he will absolutely slam you to death. Then you just apply the tractor and immediately down him before he does too much attacks and destroys the well. A lot of people prefer Bequest over Lament. I would say though for Master that Lament is superior, as it will heal you and you will thus have less deaths. If you're still having survivability issues with that though, and you have like already 3 welds spamming after each other, and you have a Titan, maybe consider putting on Phoenix Cradle so that you can pop the super and not do damage as much in that time, but heal your teammates up, as damage is normally not an issue, but rather survivability. Also, the Knights are gonna have Arc Shields, and the Ogres are gonna be Unstoppable Ogres. So make sure to bring something for Arc and something for Unstoppable. And then also make sure that when you kill the last guy in the towers, the last knight, that you call that out and make sure that everybody is ready beforehand. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of unnecessary deaths, and that can be pretty annoying over the time. Another thing you can do is give this video a thumbs up so it will reach more people, and subscribe to the channel so you will never miss out on a guide.